Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our first unit in our My Perspectives book. And our first unit is titled Childhood. The first story that we are going to read is called Wagon Train at Dusk. Now, you're going to need your My Perspectives book, so go ahead and grab it. The purpose of this video today is to revisit the lesson that was done in the classroom and explain our reading and annotating as well as the assignment that you're expected to do and how you're going to be graded on it. So our story is found on pages 6 and 7 in your My Perspectives book. So if you have your My Perspectives book in front of you, that's what you're going to turn to is page 6. If you do not have your My Perspectives book, you can find a copy of the story here in our Google Classroom. There's also an audio recording of that story. Another way that you can access it is by going into EasyBridge, clicking on Savas Realize, and then click on your textbook or browse, and you're going to be asked to open in a new window. So you'll just click that arrow and your textbook will open in a new window. Now you will start on page 1 of the textbook, which looks like this. And in the lower right hand corner, this is where you can change your pages. So you can go through page by page of your textbook this way, or you can just type the number in this white box here. We need to go to page 4 of 168 to actually find our story, Wagon Train at Dusk. And this is also where you're going to find another audio recording. All of our stories are in this book, and they all have audio recordings here in the book. The other way, when you are at home and accessing your text, is through the PDF. So we're going to be annotating it in class. But if you are home or you haven't finished your annotating, do it in your My Perspectives book if you have it. If not, you can open that PDF of the story from our Google Classroom and open it with Cami. Once you're in Cami, you're going to use your markup tool, and you will pick either your text highlighter or your underline tool. And this is where you're going to highlight or underline things that stand out to you. I'm just doing this for practice, so don't copy what I'm highlighting or underlining. So I know you've used Cami before. You can also put shapes in if you wanted to go around a word, if you want to circle things. So you have lots of different features in Cami that you can use to do your annotating. You can also write your notes using the text box, just like we would write in our book. You can do a textbook and you can write your ideas or thoughts. Wonder why the author did this. That is just an example of how to insert your notes that you would be writing in your text if you had your text. Okay, so again, the story is found on pages 6 and 7 in your textbook, but you can access it through our Google Classroom in a PDF version, and the audio is there, or you can go to our online textbook in EasyBridge and access your article there. You just cannot annotate or do any notes in the EasyBridge version of the reading. So let me back up. So this is a nonfiction narrative story, which is a type of writing where the author tells a true story. Now, we're going to do 2 readings of this story. The first reading we're going to do together in class, or if you're home, you're going to read it on your own or listen to the story and follow along. The second time we read this story is going to be our close reading. And this is where you're going to be doing annotating in your book. But if you don't have your book, you're going to open that PDF version and open it with Cami so that you can do your annotating on the computer. This is where when we are annotating or close reading, as you just heard in the previous lesson, this is where you're underlining, highlighting, circling, writing notes in the margin. This is our interacting with the text. Our conversations that we have in a classroom or with other people about a story, or thoughts that we get in our head, that's what we put down or circle or underline in our stories. That's how we interact with our stories. So again, just to revisit what annotating will look like, we have 3 documents here on the page, and there's 4 things that you should notice about these photos. There's highlighting being done, there's circling, there's underlining, there's notes in the margin. These are all ways that we interact with the text and we put our thinking down. Anything that we would want to be saying out loud, or questions that pop into our head, or those aha moments. Oh, this is what this means. Those are the kind of things that you should be writing down and annotating in your text. So after you're done with your first reading and your second reading and you've done your annotating, the last part of our assignment is this document. This is called our 3-square, and this is where we're going to bring our information from our annotating to turn in for a grade. Now, this document is worth a total of 6 points. Each section is worth 2 points. You are going to be required to answer each section in a complete sentence. So make sure you've answered all parts of the question or prompt in a box, and make sure that you have complete sentences. So in the first box, this is the close read of the text. So this is where you're revisiting things that you annotated. Where you've underlined or highlighted or wrote notes in the margin, such as, what is happening? Why did the author do this? Oh, I think this is why this character did this. Or, can you believe the character did this? I don't know if I would have done that. That's your interacting with the text. So you're going to revisit those things, and then we want you to pick a section or a part that you annotated, and what conclusion or inferences can you make about what you wrote? For example, why did the author do this? And then after you've read the text, now you can say, oh, I know, I think the author did this because. That's your idea or thought that you can write down with your annotating here in the first section. Now, the second section is where you're actually analyzing the text or looking at strategies and techniques that the author uses to grab your attention in the text or to convey a thought to you through this story. And that could be where they use funny writing, or they use the repetition of the same word. They repeat a word over and over again because they want to draw your attention to something. They want to make something stand out. So see if you can find any techniques that the author used in the story to grab your attention, and what your thoughts are about why the author did this. Why did they want us to pay attention to this part of the text? And then finally, you're going to pick a paragraph or section of the text that grabbed your attention. And we want you to explain what it was about this part of the story that it grabbed your attention. What was so important or powerful about this paragraph or section that you picked it? Again, each of these boxes is worth 2 points for a total of 6 points. Again, you need to make sure that you answer all parts of each prompt in each box, and you write in complete sentences. When you are done with this, please go back to the Google Classroom and turn this in. If you are a student that has been working from home and you've annotated your text using Kami, please be sure that is done as well, because when you turn in this assignment, it should turn that in also.